Anywhere you want. And
You want me to open it for you?
And yeah, openers. Just don't.
Jack, what are you drinking?
I'll have some of the pig.
Okay. Yeah, all the you haven't.
I haven't used that yet.
It's not as efficient as the one on the fridge. I'm not gonna lie.
So when I sent out that text, like, because I
Thanks, dude.
remembered, you bet.
Yeah, thank you so
I
much.
remembered the beer at who's been here in my seat.
Mine was sunk
Way
down
too-
I move
way
things
too
around
tall.
A little bit.
Oh
I
my
move
God.
things around a little bit.
But so I sent out the text like, hey, we're heading into Santa Rosa. What's that brewery? Help me remember. And so we walked up on the brewery, and it was. I mean, there was a line to get wristbands. You only get 3 Pliny the Youngers. It's a triple IPA that drinks like a regular IPA. It's so freaking smooth. Mm-hmm. And it was the final hours. After talking with people, we felt like we were basically walked into the Last Supper.
Uh-huh.
It was crazy. People from all over the world go there for that event.
That's
and
crazy.
We were just looking for a place to pee.
Uh-huh.
So it was not it was
Are you here to? I'm just here to pee.
super
I'll taste
impromptu.
the beer.
Yeah. Uh-oh. It's Karsten.
Yeah.
It's weird because the Wi-Fi is not on.
I didn't get a glass.
There's some behind you.
Oh.
What the fuck? Oh, there. He's calling on this computer.
Thank you, sir.
Dude, you were calling on a different computer.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, now-
Echo.
It's way better.
You're getting echoes.
oh, that's me calling on the other. Don't. I'm
It's
gonna hang
'cause-
up
Hello?
one.
It's because Karsten's wearing a foil hat.
No, it's not on my head.
No.
It doesn't help make it bigger.
Cheers to Russian River.
Yes.
Yeah.
Karsten,
That
you're
was-
not
that
here.
was-
We're all
yeah,
drinking
fuck you,
beers that
Karsten.
Jack brought us, except for
And
Jackson.
Jackson,
Yeah.
I'll give you a
we go.
little.
Oh, did you get
You bet.
Pliny the Younger?
I drank it live. I brought plenty.
Yeah.
I drank. It was on tap. I got bottles of the Elder and the Pig and the Defecation.
No.
So talk
Damnation.
defecation.
Just kidding.
Okay,
We're not going to get any sponsorship from them now. Now that I called it, but all their
Like
beers
they need sponsorship.
named.
They need people to
oh
know.
yeah.
People aren't finding their beers. Yeah, it's we would be the perfect way to do it. Hey, you guys. Technically, we weren't recording, but we are now. And I bet my volume's down on this computer, and it is. But I can still hit this when I go to this, and I do that.
Jeez. It's amateur hour. That's why we're here. It's actually warm in here.
Oh, the space heaters are fired up. Well, and it's warmer outside.
Yeah, it's daylight threw me off.
There he was. We heard him in the background. Welcome to what could likely be the largest gathering of cyclists for the year 2020 due to the Coronado virus. I keep calling it the Coronado virus. Coronavirus. I don't think it's going to get any bigger than this. This is the Packfiller, and I'm Pat Bulger.
She said.
What?
That's what she said. It's not going to get any bigger than this.
Oh, shit. We are coming to you live from the state that currently hosts the most cases, so I guess that means we're winning. Washington. Washington.
Nice.
Here with me for the apocalypse are several members of what I call the Packfiller. First and foremost, what are you?
He's doing dishes again.
I'm going to introduce him first because I'm going to yell at him. First and foremost, the only person planning on being a cyclist that doesn't pedal. Let's welcome back Mr. Gravity, Karsten Hagen.
Mr. Gravity. That's a good one.
Mr. Gravity.
Are you eating? Are you cooking? You said you're going to take a shit halfway through the show.
I'm not going to do that, but I
Okay.
did cook before this happened, and I made a very good meal, and I just finished eating it.
Okay. So
What'd you make?
I smoked a couple of chicken apple sausages and did
that's
some angel hair pasta and threw some
Roasted red
pesto
peppers.
in there. And
roasted red pepper.
Okay.
All right, let me continue with my introductions. Also, he's the best at trivia, but the worst at bets. Paul Main.
Yeah, that's me.
You've
Yeah.
lost 2 bets in this show, haven't you? The tour one and then the fit one.
Yeah.
Right? We were
Yep.
talking about that one the other day. He's our in-house guerrilla marketing professional who also brought beer tonight. So Jack Broadhead's here.
Hi.
I love the pictures you send of just random.
Every bathroom with a chalkboard says
Chalkboard,
Packfiller. So. And how people take that, I really don't
Yeah.
know. For a good time.
It could have different
Yeah.
connotations. if
Yeah.
you-
Yeah.
at least-
Orlando,
Especially in a
Florida.
bathroom.
Yeah.
I think.
Orlando, Florida has the most graffiti from me.
Really?
Yep.
Sweet.
You get any calls from them?
Not recently. No.
Hate
None
mail.
None that we can report. Next, he's the loudest breather on Mount Hope yesterday. Well, let's welcome CP's here.
I'm here.
Dude, I thought you were dying.
I went blind.
Just the sounds you were making were like, hey, hey, ha,
We don't need it.
hey, ha, and it was impressive.
That was right after Paul said we were just going to do tempo too.
Yeah,
We were doing tempo.
he was doing tempo.
You were.
Yeah.
So. It's not good.
I'm adjusting your mic. You're a new mic boy here, so
I?
yeah. So we're
Okay.
getting your levels all set here. There, talk to me, Goose.
I was carrying dog food.
Okay. Oh, that was Carson's echo.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I think I brought him way up. That was what the problem was. Oh, and finally, he's the leader of the 2020 award for the biggest explosion on a bike ride, and that was yesterday. Welcome back. I don't have to push the button. Welcome back, Jackson Bolger, clearing the throat. Hi. We got a full house. Quite literally, in fact. I made 2 more mic stands behind. That's like the kids' table back there. If we ever get to the
Crayons.
point where we need 2 more.
Did you blow up yesterday?
Oh yeah,
Didn't eat? Bonk?
something happened. Inexplainable. It was the,
The old
aliens.
guys. The old guys left you behind.
Yep, exactly.
Well, it was. I just think you've just been going 90 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out and do a 3-4 hour ride with a bunch of people, and you were underdressed.
Ooh.
It was so cold
Yeah,
yesterday.
it was.
Yeah. And
I was too, but I think also you brought a knife to a gunfight.
he did.
Yeah,
He was on.
Oh,
the
he was on a gravel bike.
He was
Wasn't
on a
he?
gravel bike.
Yeah.
And when I was loading it into the car for him, I lifted that thing up and I went, "Oh,
I need hernia
shit.
surgery.
yeah. It was.
yeah." I don't know what the official weight is, but it was quite a bit more.
Because
than
he's
what
got
we
a
were-
small.
Hefty.
Don't you have a small front chainring?
Yeah,
There it
well,
is, right
that.
behind
Yeah,
you.
it's right behind you. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. That's junior gears, man.
Yeah, so that was that. So into an actual podcast, I guess. Gentlemen, let's start with some personal issues. Number 1, how's your cycling life, everybody? How's it going? Yeah, well, Jack, don't shake your head, pal, because we're going to be talking to you shortly, Mr. Run. Karsten, you work in the industry, but are you able to ride, or are you riding, or are you just gravity?
Shut up.
Shooting.
You
Actually
said gravity
rode
first.
almost
so-
every day last week, and then
Oh, no shit.
off road, yeah. And then Friday morning, I woke up and went to a friend's house for coffee, and then promptly barfed in the driveway,
Oh, nice.
and then spent the entire day barfing, and then
Coronavirus.
finally fainted.
What?
And, yeah, went to the ER and got pumped full of fluids, and it turns out I had this weird 24-hour virus.
Named after a
And,
shitty Mexican beer.
Yeah.
Budweiser of Mexico.
Good thing I'm not there. And then I slept all day Saturday, like literally slept all day Saturday. And then yesterday I went skiing.
That's a good bounce back.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, I skied my balls off at Bachelor yesterday. It was great. Bluebird Day. It was really good. And then here I am today.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I'm going to Colorado for work for the next 3 days, so no riding.
Really?
Yep, gonna get fat again.
Even with the fact that you don't need to get into details of what your job is, but most people would think a guy who travels to places to talk to people about bikes, you'd have the ability to ride all the time. But apparently that's not such the case.
I mean, I don't know. I get to ride more than a lot of dudes my age that have middle management jobs, but you know, I mean, we all got to make a living.
Yeah.
You know,
that's depressing.
Don't want to be a downer.
Yeah. Thanks for that, by the way. I don't have a Debbie Downer sound effect anywhere.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it's obvious to me that the people in my position at my competitors are obviously doing a lot more riding than I am right now.
Why do you say that?
Their body makeup?
No, because we're kicking their ass. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe at the bike show you had body envy, or they were body shaming you.
No,
super fit guys from.
I have no envy for the body of my competitors.
Really?
Yeah.
There's so many
you just heard the bike industry equivalent of shit talking right there.
Yeah. You
pretty exciting stuff, really.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope other people actually listen to this.
They are, and I should mention, I keep forgetting to mention all the things. We're live of course, on Mixler, mixler.com/Packfiller. If you're there already, you know the address. If you're not, there, you can do that next time. And our YouTube channel is working right now. We're on a 2-camera operation, but it is working, so we'll see how long that fucking lasts. And then we'll go from there. Who else has a confession about their cycling life and how things are going so far? Anybody want to step up and admit?
I've been away at college being an actor, you know.
Yeah.
No big deal. So that's consumed my life for the past 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know. So no, I haven't ridden very much, as yesterday could tell.
Dude, though, but as I said to you yesterday, which pisses me off so much, it's the generational thing that, sure, I'm stronger right now, but in June, you're going to be absolutely schooling me again. It's just like, you'll be like, oh, it's cycling season. All of a sudden, everything, boom, I'm fast again. Sorry, Dad, I'm still beating you on my gravel bike, even though you're on a much lighter version. And, that's just, I hate that.
I got to take advantage of it while I can.
Yeah. Yeah. So be gentle. Anybody else? Paul, how's your training going?
I'd like to always want more, but I think I've got 12 rides in this year. So, yeah, that's about
That's
it.
outdoors. That's
outdoors,
not Zwift.
yeah.
That, you don't count those.
I don't count Swift, and I don't count rollers.
Yeah.
So.
You stated, I remember the other day, that it's like if it happens on Zwift, you never let it go to Strava or anything like that.
I don't. Yeah.
Dude, that's lame.
Why? Why do you say that?
Because you can put in my TSS numbers we can talk about this later. But come on, really?
But why do I? So you have to boil down. What do I use Strava for? It's my own personal record. It's not for, other people can look on it. That's fine. But I don't keep track of my personal Zwift. None of that matters to me. So why should I document that? I do take time and go back from the years because as I age, I want to see, watch the edges of my rock get rounder and rounder, that type of thing.
Just the decline.
So that's the reason why I don't, because it's not part. I did early on, and I thought, no, it's not the same. I don't compare Zwift efforts back with road or other Swift efforts. So therefore, there's no reason for me to document that.
I don't post my Sufferfest workouts on any of that stuff, to Training Peaks, to any of that kind of stuff. I post it to the internal Sufferfest calendar so I can see what I'm supposed to be doing. But no, I don't share any of that stuff. Yeah. And Zwift, I hate when it tries. Sometimes I've accidentally oh shit, it posted, and I'll try to get it out of there because. So there, Oregon boy.
Go ahead.
This is a whole discussion in and of itself. It really is. We should get through the whole intro session here, but I'm fired up about this one.
Okay, Jack Broadhead.
Fuck you for asking.
I do remember you straddled a top tube on New Year's Day weekend. Yeah. And
That'd be New Year's before I get on again.
How many rides you been on?
None. I got none since then.
On a cycling podcast, as a proverbial expert on the sport, yet you don't do
Who
it.
said that?
I said proverbial.
God, I'm working 7 days a week. I need to take a break.
There's always time. There's no excuse.
Yeah. That's it.
Good
No.
talk. Good
Yeah.
talk. I feel better from
And
this.
no excuses.
We're all better now,
Except
sport.
that. Yeah.
CP, you been riding? What have you been
Apparently I
doing?
breathe too loud.
Dude, you were suffering like a motherfucker. At one point, you came by us. It was like you were sprinting by us to sprint to the 100 meter to go.
Yeah. Am I off?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was. You guys were pulling away, and you eased up just
There
a little
you go.
bit, and so I just had to keep tempo. If I slowed down onto your wheel, I would have just turned around and gone home right there instead of 5 minutes later, like I did. I think my biggest issue is how little I rode last year.
Yeah.
Strava doesn't lie, and I would have told you I rode, a couple times a month, maybe a couple times a week, from July 4th to the end of the year, 4.
Oh,
So
okay.
So I'm
You got me by 4.
4. But so this year's already better. I already got more than a third of my miles in from last year,
Wow.
which is what, 35.
So I do want to make a small little, a happy announcement, I guess we could say, that bike racing isn't dead in Spokane, Washington.
That's right.
We just found out recently that
The Washington Trust Cycling Classic is coming back.
no, it's nothing that good. But
And it's a triathlon.
it's a Merckx time trial.
Or grass.
We have our Twilight Series has made a comeback. How many races, Paul? Do you know how
I
many
think
races they're thinking?
there's 5 or maybe 6. I think
Yeah.
5.
Wow.
And they're all back-to-back weeks, right?
Nope.
I think.
No,
Or is there
I
a
think
gap?
there's a little gap.
Anyway, obviously I did my
I
research.
think.
And there is also a stage race coming to Spokane once again, a weekend-based stage race, a TT road
Crit.
race crit, or TT crit road race.
I think so.
Yeah, shit got announced. I think honestly, what happened is, and we've been. I wish there was some sort of a platform where people could talk about these sorts of things, where they could tune in and listen to people talk about these issues related with the sport.
Wait. I think you have one.
Yeah.
No,
all right.
not yet. I don't
Okay.
think. I don't think. Maybe there's something on the internet
Yeah.
Nobody's listening.
about the need for the changing of the guard. About the fact that I don't know about other communities, and I'm sure it's almost the same everywhere, where you've got the same people who've been doing it for so long. And this I equate to that issue where cycling teams don't have to put on races anymore. A USA cycling team didn't have to do it. It wasn't a mandatory requirement, which is redundant. But I finally there are other people, younger generations, for lack of a better term, stepping up and putting on some of these races. Now that the races died, I wonder what they're like in other communities, but that's, I think, what's helping us. I don't know. Anybody agree, disagree?
I think fresh blood. I don't know if age really, but I think it's
Yeah.
just fresh blood. Mike Surratt, who
Mike's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
and there's a couple of guys that he's working with. One has been involved with putting on a race, I think 2 years ago, and then Nathan, who was a teammate of mine, helped put on the Ronde van Palouse. So yeah, new blood's pretty new. Yeah.
We're gonna make it. Refresh me again. I swear I did research. I got a big stack of paper in front of me. But when that race is happening here?
August. I think it's August 30th, 31st, and first part of September, something like that. So it's the last weekend in August.
It's kind of like the time that we, and I can say it because we announced it on the show, that we were thinking about putting on that downtown crit. It was about the same time of the year.
So we're off the hook.
We're off
really.
the hook.
Yeah.
Do shit. There you go.
All we had to do is kind of spur them on.
Wait for somebody.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Make them
You know,
jealous.
It worked.
Somebody should do something. Crickets. Somebody should really fucking do something.
Yeah.
Step
Oh,
up,
man.
fuckers.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. But no, it's cool, and I'm excited to do it. And I will, I will go out there and say that I'm going to show up to some Twilight Series races for sure. I found you could go back into the archives of this show and hear how frustrated I got with it last year when you show up at a race and you're there with
5 Cat 1s.
5 Cat 1s, and you're just going, oh shit, I'm still dealing with a hangover. And
and 50.
Yeah, and I'm 50. Yeah, and then the first guy attacks, and you're 3 minutes into a 45-minute race, and you paid $25 to do it. It's like, well, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. But to stand here or to sit here at this microphone and complain about races and say people need to show up to races, I guess I should put my money where my mouth is. So I'll be there.
$25 for
$25 for a crit.
Can you for $25 you can say, hey, I lined up and I raced with these guys. Drop 3 minutes later, go back to your car, grab a beer. It's like,
and then put it on the podcast.
That's worth $25 to me.
Yeah.
Really?
That's so cheap.
That's cheap.
Ridiculously cheap.
That's cheap
for a Tuesday night.
$25
for a Tuesday night race.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a bike race in general. If you think about insurance, I don't know,
but you can put on, you can do, and I won't, I hate to bring up running, but you can do $5 entry fees all day long.
Yeah.
For a 5K. So on a, I don't know, $25 is a lot for a weeknight race.
Our Wednesday night mountain bike series is $20 a night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still think that's cheap.
If I were a race promoter, it'd be 10.
It'd be 10, but you wouldn't make any money.
They
I'm
don't make
into
money
it,
at 25 either.
Yeah.
Because of
that's
the
the thing.
I would negotiate with the.
Why not make money? Like, what's wrong with making money? Because
that's what your day
ultimately
job's
one of
for.
the issues is
Karsten.
people do these and they series like this and they get burned out after a couple of years because they don't make any money, and it's a labor of love, and they they lose desire, rightfully so, because they're not making any money, and it's a lot of bullshit.
So with that theory, Carson, so the money's in gravel because it's like $100 for it.
Yeah.
Oh, the money is in gravel.
And there's no that you don't really pull permits. You don't have all marshaling. You don't have any USAC pace.
You don't need USAC officials.
Nope, none.
Yeah.
So
that's where all the money's at.
Yeah,
that's what the local.
So those should be the $5 races.
That's what the local Wednesday night series is doing.
Yep,
Eric,
$10 race.
My buddy Eric Ewing and Gino Lasecki are putting that series on. They insure it themselves. They have no officials. They do the whole thing straightforward. They run their own format. They have a 1-lapper, 2-lapper course set up, and you race according to it's age groups, isn't it, Jay?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And it's it's just run that way, and it's simple and straightforward. Everybody gets a beer afterward, and it's a huge hit. It went from less 50, 60 riders a night to now over 200 riders a night. And it's
200 at 20 that's pretty good money.
Yeah. But they got to pay. You got to pay that insurance and things like that. So, but I'm just jazzed to see it hopefully making a comeback. And
is Alex still putting that on?
No,
he's the one who sent out the announcement, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he was also the one who was saying we're not going to do it anymore.
Right.
And then when somebody stepped up, he said, "Oh, these guys are going to do it." So it saved the proverbial bacon there.
That's the Wednesday night mountain bike race, not the all.
No, that's
not
the Twilight
24 hours.
Tuesday night.
Okay.
24 hours dead.
Yep.
It died.
It's done.
Yeah.
I mean, those who bought it killed it.
Nobody bought it. Yeah.
Oh, there was somebody who was going to, right?
Yes. And I'll say it. I was going to buy it with a partner, and we were going to do it, but we underbid, and they didn't want it.
But didn't counter back?
Nope. They said no, and we said okay. And that was it.
Change the name, start over.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
24
thing.
hours isn't a copyrighted thing.
I didn't want to do that simply because I worked with the people who put on that race, and I respect the shit out of them, and they spent a long time putting that race together. So there's no way I was just going to say, oh, fine, we'll just let you piss out, and then we'll start our own.
Yeah.
That would have been a big stab in the back. But
just wait a year.
Yeah, exactly.
No compete.
And my wife had a really good method of telling me, dude, don't. You don't have the time, you stupid piece of shit.
Oh, that's like when the neighbor's house went for sale and I was going to flip it.
Yeah. Your wife said, "What the fuck
idea.
are you thinking?"
She said if I could get for $1.25.
Yeah.
I mean, not 1,000, not 125.
$1.25. Yeah. Gentlemen, should we get to the news?
Sure.
There it is. That cue is a little slow. Did you notice that?
Chris Matthews retired tonight, by the way.
Thanks.
Quote unquote.
Thanks.
Retired.
No, really.
Everybody.
No, I know he did.
That's a
but
big deal.
It was,
The host talks now.
Yes.
Everybody, the season is officially underway for now. For now. I put that in a nice little asterisk for now. Omloop het Nieuwsblad, the strangest named event of the calendar, kicked off the Spring Classics with a win from the team I can no longer refer to as a retirement home. Trek Segafredo actually took the first semi-classic of the season. Jesper Stuyven continued with a win for the best. He won, and also on the next day, I don't know why I keep laughing because Kern
He's going to
Brussels.
do it. He's going to laugh.
Kern Brussels Kern, the most immature thing you can ever pronounce and get a giggle after.
I'm laughing already.
Casper Asgreen.
Asgreen.
Just the look on your face. He's like, Asgreen.
Sideways Asgreen.
I'm 12. On note on Sunday.
Where's Kirsten? Sorry.
He's on his phone,
Yeah,
right, Karsten?
I heard him laugh. You're still there.
I'm muted. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Pat.
He's taking his shit.
I'm not.
Please
I just
mute.
know good Skype etiquette.
Oh, wow.
Weird.
Okay.
Weird.
But I do believe we do need to get to one of the bigger topics of the weekend, and it's unfortunate that there were two great bike races this weekend, and one of the biggest stories, of course, was Team Ineos rider Gianni Moscon disqualified for throwing a bike, not his bike, throwing a bike at another rider within the contest, and then proceeding to throw a little bitch. See, I'm throwing personal. This is not fair and
Is
balanced.
asshole in the peloton?
Yeah.
Like, generally known that way.
Ripping his taking his numbers out of his back, throwing it to the ground, taking another one, ripping it in half, and
He
just
tried. He couldn't rip it.
throw it. Yeah, he couldn't rip those
It's like the
things.
phone
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I want to ask across the board for those of you who've seen it. Jackson and I watched him this weekend. Paul, I know you watched. CP, I know you watched. Jack, you didn't do
watch it.
shit. So,
He ran.
I know.
Yeah.
I was tearing apart a house.
and writing on chalkboards.
No, that was last week.
Thoughts on, first of all, the beginning of the season? I'd like to ask you about that. If anybody's has any moments of clarity or grandeur or like, holy shit, these people are going to be fast this year. For example, I think Evenepoel is going to absolutely crush this season. The guy is fucking fast. But I'd like to
You
ask
said Vanderpool or Evenepoel?
Evenepoel.
Evenepoel.
Remco. Yeah,
Mhm.
Remco.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just a...
Because Vanderpool has the
review.
flu,
Yeah.
and he probably will miss. That's probably. I'm going ahead.
No,
Sorry.
you're fine. He's going to
Burying
probably
the
miss
lead
Strada
there.
Bianca.
Yeah.
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 Which is this
yeah.
weekend. Anybody have anything?
He said
on
he got a 24-hour bug from some guy from Bend, Oregon. I think it was. So
He just threw up in the driveway.
Passed
threw up
out.
in his driveway, passed out.
Yeah.
Went skiing the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Flanders then.
Wise fella.
And and I guess that's a generic way to start this whole topic, but also I've mentioned in this show about myself about that asshole that sometimes you need to get on the start line and you need to be a little selfish. Sometimes I would find myself turning into this person where if somebody cut me off, I'd go, "Hey, fucker," or something like that, yelling at people in a race. So I've never been the perfect angel when it came to racing a bike race. Gianni Moscon has done this a couple times. There's a gigantic rage on social media about how he should be fired from Ineos. He should be banned from the sport. There is all this kind of stuff going on. First of all, let me ask this. I guess this is a better question. Has anybody ever lost their cool while out on a bike ride or in a race? And what's the magnitude of that? And what are your opinions on this guy and what he did? Anybody can take over. I don't care. You're all looking at each other.
I think one of the biggest
I've been watching the Moscone tantrum as we've been talking about it, and be 230-pound Karsten in this scenario and just punch the fuck out of that guy. You're getting paid to race your bike. Shit happens. Why do you act like that? Isn't this the guy that was like made all those racist comments toward those?
Yep.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He wouldn't last a second in this country.
He probably beats his wife.
Whatever. Anyway, I've never lost my cool with another cyclist, but I certainly have at drivers.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Lots of times.
Oh,
there's a difference between losing your cool and taking it out on somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Throwing a bike at somebody is pretty intense. Was it their bike or was it?
No,
it wasn't
his
some
bike.
random bike.
It was a random
like
bike.
a spare bike.
It wasn't. It would be one thing if you look at it. If I remember correctly, the guy that goes down, you can see he's in.
It looked like a Movistar kit, but there was another guy
somebody,
off to the side too.
and it was actually in slow motion. It wasn't like a big pileup. And what was the name of that? Something BB Hotels or whatever. It's a small team. That's the guy that received it. I think he ran into Moscone and fell down, and it was his bike on top of Moscone's bike, and he just turned around and just threw it right in the guy's face, and then he proceeded to go on. And so I don't know. He's just
Maybe there's some roid rage.
Roid rage.
Roid rage.
Do you think Jackson probably wouldn't be able to see it because he's behind my monitor here, but I guess I could bring it up on YouTube or something like that. For those of you who haven't seen it, has everybody seen it?
I haven't.
I think that, and I always do that off mic. I think that could it be classified as something that was?
Carson, what are you watching?
I'm watching KBK, man. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you who wins.
CSI Miami.
That's me.
Just getting up to speed, doing my research,
yeah.
getting ready for the
You
podcast.
should have done that yesterday, by the way.
Should have done that yesterday. Well, the audio is going to come up, and I can probably mute the audio. Yeah, because it's a VRBO ad for right now. But while it's playing, I can do that. But the bike is I'm completely devil's advocate here right now. What if the bike was on top of his and he went, get this fucking thing off of my bike?
Well, watch it. He looks at who he throws it to.
Yeah.
Throws it to the guy who owns it?
Okay, here we go.
All right, we're watching it, even though it's a fucking 4-minute video. What kind of asshole does that?
Now watch it. Down.
They're down. And this is great for the people who are just listening to us. Oh, now they show him. Oh, God. This is probably some YouTuber wanting to get people to watch all the way through. So let's see if I can get through. Yeah, I know. That makes me fairly hypocritical because I want people to watch.
All I know is I'm going to interject here. There is nothing funnier than bike racers fighting.
Yeah, they're like...
I could not agree more.
Bam!
It's hilarious.
Did he not look at him when he did that?
I don't know.
It was a kind of a random, like, I'm going to throw your bike in the ditch. I don't know.
He knew
his
he was
bike
there.
was underneath it, though.
Yeah, but is there any reason?
Energy, adrenaline.
I know you're being devil's advocate.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm completely devil's advocate.
The thing is go ahead, Jack.
They should have duked it out. I mean, they should have thrown blows and shit like that. But no, I mean,
look at those arms. He could do some damage.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
Pile driver.
Like Carson said, they're kind of funny to watch.
Yeah. No, I
sitting
mean,
on skates.
Like he picks up the bike and it's already going before he turns to the guy he's trying to hit. I mean, maybe he's good at it, but
I guess because I'm going to join you on the devil's advocate part of it. Why aren't we still talking? Like, I guess why didn't we have these conversations about the cyclists who have physically hit fans?
Yeah,
you know, because wasn't there recently? Was it Miguel Angel Lopez?
Yeah, Superman.
He hit. Yeah. He was like
beating
the crap out of the guy.
Yeah.
Maybe hit his head a bunch.
He showed the backhand.
Did he backhand
he slapped him.
I'm like, why aren't these equal? He tossed a bike behind him.
He got in trouble for that. He got penalized.
Who was it that gave somebody a karate chop to the throat on like Lauptuez?
And that was Andy Hampton.
Yeah,
Bernardino used to just badger, hit the shit out of everybody at every chance. If there was a protest in the middle of the road, they were throwing punches left
Well,
and
they shouldn't
right.
be on the road. No, I'm being the devil's advocate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Okay, Gianni Moscone is apparently kind of a dick. It sounds like. I mean, he's had multiple offenses where he's
This
a dick.
isn't the first. Yeah.
Well, I've heard that.
I know another dick who technically won 7 Tours de France.
Yeah. But he didn't throw a bike.
Yeah.
He didn't call somebody the N-word. He didn't, it stacks up, the stuff that this guy hung on to a car,
So did Nibali.
Yeah, all of them do that. But, there's plenty of things that he just consistently is on the naughty list.
They did an interview with a guy that got hit with a bike, and he said, it's always the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always the same guy getting hit? Or
It's
it's
always the same guy throwing the bike.
Having the attitude problem.
He said this stuff happens, but lately it's always been the same guy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's another one that actually they couldn't prove that he did it, but supposedly he swept a rider who made bad comments about his behavior. And I'm trying to think what race it was.
It was
late
a
at
teammate of the guy that he slandered.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
he broke his elbow and his hip.
Yep.
And they dropped the
fuck.
case
Oh, shit.
due to lack of evidence.
So he's. But here's the thing: everybody says off the bike, he's a super nice laid back guy.
I'm hearing that. Yeah.
And it's just a switch
that
he
Son of
must.
Sam had a really nice lawn.
He loved dogs.
Long
Ted-
walks on
Especially
the
the
beach.
ones that talk to him.
Ted Bundy was incredibly romantic.
Smart,
Yeah.
smart
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it sounds like, and then Ineos is taking this stance where they're talking about, well, if it happens again, we're gonna crack down. If it happens again, but you do have to think that if Ineos dropped him, I guarantee you teams would be lining up to get him back. So does crime pay? Is being a complete douche put you on a different
He's not
level?
going to get the same salary as he does on Ineos.
Yeah.
So it doesn't pay.
I can't help but agree with what Karsten was saying earlier. It's like if you use any sort of racial word or slur or anything like that, then I think just inherently
You're immediate. Yeah.
I think you're just a bad person.
Yeah.
Like
He
unfortunately,
would've
and
been-
that's
if pro cycling was a primarily American sport, and if he had done that, he wouldn't have had a career anymore.
Yeah, he'd be done.
He'd be done. So that, to me, that's another discussion. Like, is Europe, are the ethics of European cycling so fucked that we can have this stuff going on and Froome and all the other cagey shit that's happening over there? Would that happen if here?
I wouldn't put the American sport on such a pedestal, considering what happens in the NFL.
No,
and
yeah.
wide receivers.
Or Lance.
He's on parole and he made a good catch.
Yeah. And then you've got these guys who
beat his wife
who kick the shit out of their wives in an elevator and are slapped in the hand or something like that. I don't know. I'm making that up, but he did, but I don't know what his punishment was. And then
even if Tom Brady used the N-word, he'd be out of a career.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you could do other stuff.
It's almost like doping is such an accepted thing here, which is wrong. But at least we got
PC.
I don't know, racial equity.
yeah.
That's it. Maybe that's all we got.
So
I don't know.
I'll take a quick vote across the board. I'll start with CP and I'll go across. Carson, no offense, you're going to be the last to vote. Okay. What should be the punishment, if any? I guess that's my question. What should be the punishment, if any?
To me, it's a cumulative effect. Drop the guy
Off the team.
off the team.
Okay.
And it's okay if someone else picks him up, but on such a high-profile team,
Yeah.
the one that's essentially, in many ways setting the bar for other teams.
Born off of a chemical
not just
company,
from
I
this
think,
one,
that
it's-
rapes the planet. But, other than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And their jerseys look like a blood bag. So I just want to say that, throw that out there right now. But anyway.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Paulie.
Well, I think ultimately, if the UCI isn't going to step up and do anything, then it's left to the team. And Mr. Ratcliffe, who owns Ineos, does not. He's already on the borderline. He's trying to clean up the image as much as possible. He may have something to say. I don't think we're heard the last word of this.
Okay.
Mr. Ratcliffe said that if there's any drugs whatsoever or any stain on his company, he'll just pull the money immediately. So,
what would your punishment be?
Me, I wouldn't want him on the team. I think he's poison. I mean, it's hard for people to make excuses. It's a stress on the staff, PR people. It's just, you're done. That's what I would. But it'll be interesting to see what they really do.
So we got 2 off the teams. Jack.
I don't think they're kicking him off the team. Seems like you said he will move on. Somebody will pick him up right away. I think he needs like 3-month ban, no pay. Pay really determines, whether people are gonna, do the bad behavior again. So 3 months suspended,
3 months.
no pay. Then you're starting to actually, Ineos can protect their image.
Yeah.
If the UCI is not going to ban him for 3 months or a year or whatever, then why not just penalize him with money? It's all about money.
Yeah. That'll hit you in the paycheck.
Yep.
Jackson Bolger.
I mean, I do think that he shouldn't be on Team Ineos anymore. I kind of agree with everyone. These are a lot, like, we keep talking about like a new generation coming through and like these new ideas towards the sport, and I think a lot of the crap that we're talking about that he's pulling is a lot of old things that we don't need to be hearing about anymore. So I think, I'm going to agree with that he shouldn't be on the team, and I think there should be some sort of UCI ban as well, because I think that
we heard that sigh there, Jack. Yeah, there's a mic right in front of you.
I was just thinking of politics right now.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It has not changed. It's gotten worse.
But I don't know. I think actions speak louder than words, and his actions are speaking loud right now. So.
Yeah. Carson, your turn.
Remember Brian Bosworth?
Yeah. I worked out with him at the Bellevue Athletic Club one time. I was right there with him, spotting him. He was spotting me.
Did you score any roids?
No,
Oh, okay.
but he was in the same gym with me.
Did he make fun of you?
Did he what?
Did he make fun of you?
Well, did you?
Did that to a lot of
Nobody with that hair could ever make fun of you.
This was pre like injury leaving, the NFL thing. He was still
Scott Bork, by the way, just texted me and said that my beer is overrated.
Well, Scott Bork's wrong.
All I'm saying is Brian Bosworth is a classic example of karma, and that should apply to this fucker. And the deal is, he's working for a multinational. He's an employee of a multinational corporation, essentially, and they shouldn't tolerate this kind of stuff. And I certainly wouldn't tolerate it. And if he worked for me, he'd be fired instantly. Could he go out and get another job? Sure, but his reputation precedes him, and it might be difficult for him to land, a decent. Like somebody said earlier, that it's going to be hard for him to make the kind of money he's making now. That's for sure. He'll learn that he's going to end up working for some continental team and calling people the N-word and being a dick. But he wasn't a professional, and he needs to go.
That is true. He's not a professional.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so across the board, he should be banned. He should be kicked off his team. We had 1 3-month ban. Jackson, what was yours? You're just off the team.
No pay too.
I kind of agree with the off the team, and there should be something, because he's not going to learn if he doesn't get it more.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
this
not
is.
gonna learn. How old is this fucker?
I know.
Not gonna learn.
I mean, he's
not
not
straight.
No, I mean he
not-
should know as an adult not to act like this.
I haven't learned to control my calorie intake to be faster on a bike, and I'm 50, so some of us don't learn.
Old dogs don't.
I guess
If we electrify the fridge, you'll learn.
Yep. Yeah, there's punishment there
I
somewhere.
can do that.
Yeah.
I
Do that.
Yeah.
You can come to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I mean in that is he's living a life with no repercussions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there needs to be something so he can realize, oh, I'm not untouchable anymore.
All right. There's that story. Next, I got to get... I do... No,
Done.
I have a couple more. No, we could talk about this all night, but I think we all kind of came to the conclusion, don't be an asshole. And if you're an asshole, you should be hitting the pocketbook.
But you did ask, had we ever done that?
Oh, has anybody been an asshole on the bike ever? Anybody ever been a dick in a
I've been
race?
an asshole, certainly. Lots of times, but I've never...
Yeah, you took out a whole
punched
junior field at...
Yeah. Purposefully.
Yep. He just said, yep. No, should we explain that story? No, probably not.
Listen to an earlier episode when he explains how he got his
name Carson. I do remember when I was a junior throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum after a race in which I flatted in the final lap, and I was super just I was in. There was was a point series. I was really focused on this, and I threw a temper tantrum. I'm not gonna lie. I was pissed as shit, and I was yelling at my sister, and I was I was so angry that I rode my rear flat. I started riding home. I was so mad. And she's driving alongside me saying, "Get in the car!" And I'm like, "Fuck you!" We're just screaming at each other outside this, outside the race venue. And yes, I was 15, 16, maybe 17. But I do remember it to this day, and I remember
37.
Yeah. And I also, somebody mentioned about cars. I do find myself, I freaked out at the Sandpoint Grand Fondo, the Chafe Grand Fondo at a car.
That was I didn't personally see it as freaking out. I saw it as going into a mode of, what's going to happen? This person's pulling over kind of thing.
It was the classic, a woman came, I pulled off in front of Jackson, was dropping back, and the woman was passing us on a busy highway, and she honked at us. And so I just waved. I honestly, there was all 5 fingers. It was a wave. I did kind of one of those gestures. And she pulled over, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, into the shoulder, jammed on the brakes, skidded to a stop, and got out of the car. And so every bone in my body was fight or flight. I was like, bring it. I was in fight mode.
What the hell are you doing?
It's my son and I doing a ride together, and I was like, okay. And she yelled something like, "I want you to be safe," or something like that, even though she just screamed off into the ditch and brought her car to a stop. And I remember yelling at her, just something just formulaic, like, "We have the right to the road too." Fuck, or something like that. And I think that was the extent of it. But I felt bad for a while because I was like, oh shit, this woman's probably a volunteer for the race. They're going to report me. I'm going to get kicked out of the Fondo because I incited an argument with one of the cameras. Just shut off. If you're watching YouTube, shit's going to go to hell. Go to Mixler, mixler.com/Packfiller. YouTube, this live stream software I have is just a fucking train wreck. So go, that's the last camera standing. So, but I found myself full of adrenaline and rage. And could I have handled it better? Yeah. Has anybody ever lost their shit in a bike race?
I have, on a stupid Tuesday night too. There's this kid. He was a nice kid, but he was just a wheel sucker, and he just one night, just everywhere I went, he went, and I went on a break, and he wouldn't pull through. And even when we finally got caught, I looked back, and he's just still on my wheel. So I just kind of like leaned my bike to one side, stood up, and overlapped his wheel just to warn him. But I heard.
Oh fuck! We shouldn't laugh.
What an asshole!
God, that's terrible, Carson.
I've never
it
done
took
that.
me about 5 minutes later. I thought, that's kind of a dick move.
Did you turn around and go get him?
No, I just thought he deserved it at the time.
He turned around and picked up his bike and threw it at him.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's what he should have done.
Probably the worst I've ever done at Super Week as a senior. I had some guy was riding like an asshole, and I literally shook him with a hand from one corner, like corner 2 to corner 3, just back and forth in a pack of 300. in a crit. That's probably the worst I've been in a race.
Yeah.
As far as, but I just freaked out because he's like crashed, like a guy that would just crash people.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's certain guys that just don't have a clue. I mean, just grab.
He crashes people.
No, neither one of us went down. By the way, we were fine. We both
just both hands.
We both got set up for the next corner. Everything's fine. But yeah, I'm giving him a little shaking.
Shaking baby.
Yeah, 60K shake.
Jackson, I'm going to let you go next because you're just an angel and you've never done anything angry about anybody.
I've genuinely never gotten into a state of mind where I'm like, I'm gonna shift my wheel a little bit, or I'm gonna shake a guy from corner 2 to corner 3. Really? I've never gotten there.
You
before.
haven't road raced enough. That's the problem.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
Only road racers do that asshole shit.
There's some mountain bike guys.
Yeah, I was about to say I've been like cut off pretty hard a few times in mountain bike, but also
on purpose though.
Yeah,
you think?
I think there was one person who did it on purpose.
You should have gone up there and jacked him.
See what happened is he put me in a tree and I was like, action speak louder than words. I'll beat him, and I did.
Yeah.
So that's what matters to me.
Wow,
fair play.
See,
congratulations, Pat.
Thank you.
I'm a beautiful angel.
Fucking great father, aren't I?
No, that was all from your wife, not you, because we know you, and that's not what you would have done.
Can I have like 10% of the credit?
Do you know how competitive Michelle is?
Yeah,
I know.
I think that's
Pat. Yeah. No, I bet it was. No, it wasn't Michelle. She's mean as a snake.
I think racing BMX gave me that. Like,
really? That shake a competitor?
Just aggressive, because it's choppy.
Karsten, you ever done anything completely dick move in a race?
I mean,
we talked about your crash.
But you crash. Yeah, don't even bring that up.
Yeah, there's that. But I definitely have lots of times move people around, like just by grabbing their shoulder and moving them to where I wanted them to be, for sure. But I mean, because they're making a stupid move into a corner and they were gonna kill everybody. Yeah, I mean, I'm big enough where I can do it, and I'm not being mean. But if somebody's gonna do something stupid, I'm gonna move them where they need to be. I've done that lots of times.
Yeah. CP, you ever been a dick? I think of one moment that was funnier than shit. The screw you moment.
Oh shit. But I was pretty much by myself.
You were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no other moments? You've been an angel the rest of your life?
I think the funniest one to me, and one of the most aggressive moments I ever did in a race is, I can't remember what race it was, but there was a long climb. We were going up it. I think it might have been Horsehaven.
Yeah.
And a guy, we were like third in line toward the front of the race, and we were shoulder to shoulder fighting for a wheel, and we really got into like shoving and pushing each other hard on a climb to be, it's like halfway through the race. It made no difference if you're third or fourth, and we were going at it. And then later on, we were the two off the front in the break, and we're like, "We good? Yeah, we're good. All right."
Yeah. Everything's fine.
Angry, then mended.
And now we're
best friends,
best buddies
besties.
until we get caught, which we did.
Are you still best friends?
I don't remember.
Don't even remember who it was. Yeah.
I had a guy say to me once, he was, he's rubbing me, he's trying to move me, and it got a little weird. He goes, "Dude, Rubbin's racing.
I hate that fucking quote. I hate anybody who says that fucking
NASCAR.
quote.
It's because of NASCAR.
But
is that
trading paint. We're trading
so
paint.
so many sprinters say that shit.
Rubbin's
it's just
racing.
Yeah. Just no, it's not. It's just fuck you. Yes, I understand. In a field sprint in Super Week where you got 200 people fighting for the same, finish
15th
line.
place.
Yeah, that shit happens where you're bumping, but it's not just a given that you bump off each. But anyway, I just fucking assholes. No, I mean, it's roadies. There's I can't believe how much time we're taking. That's what happens when you have six people on a podcast. What did you say?
A script.
No. We always go off script. I mean, I always have this 4-page script, and I always get about a page and a half out of it. But I do want to talk about the fact that the world is in this gigantic state of panic. We've got this coronavirus shit happening. Yeah. There are some headlines that I'm going to just kind of touch base on, and then I'll ask you guys for comments. First of all, Strada Bianca, Tirreno Adriatico, Milan San Remo have been given the, quote, go ahead, end quote, despite the coronavirus concerns. That's a big one. There are several riders still quarantined in the United Arab Emirates. A lot of guys from, by the way, and the team Cofidis hates it when you call them Coronafidis. But there are a lot of riders still stuck there, and they're going crazy. They're climbing the fucking wall, and they aren't necessarily showing symptoms, but they can't leave. We've got this gigantic national fear happening. And Paul, I mentioned to you the other day, we're about to take a trip. We're about to go overseas. We're about to go to Flanders and Roubaix. And there's this fear that, shit, is it still going to happen? And I'd like you to probably start, Paul, because the philosophy you put behind the trip and the way you're taking the entire process, I thought was pretty inspirational. But
one, I need to clarify that I work with. I mean, my wife is a nurse, and so this is most people in the medical field. Majority of the people in the medical field are like, all right, the media is like really riding this thing, and making a big thing about it. Governments are going to try and cover it up, but when you text me and you mentioned that how's this going to affect us, and I said, and jokingly I said, we're going to Belgium. They're tough people. That virus is not going to cross the border and laugh. Fuck that, man. These guys are going to kick our ass. And I mentioned that to on Friday to one of my customers, and because she was going to Portugal this week because of spring break with her son, and she came back a few minutes later after I mentioned that conversation that we had, and she goes, I have two friends in Belgium. They're going to vacation next week down to Italy. And she says, aren't you afraid? I said, no, we're Belgian. That's what they said. So apparently they believe that too. Yeah. But they're also they're doctors. Yeah, Belgian doctors.
But what I also liked was you said we're going regardless. And if the race is for some bizarre reason or canceled, we're going to go ride the cobbles.
That's the race was.
Biketown Bruges.
Yeah, that's right.
It turns into a beer fest.
Actually, we'll be staying in Izegem.
I know, but Biketown Bruges sounds so much better off the tongue than Biketown Izegem.
Or how about Kortrijk?
Kortrijk, it doesn't work.
I just want to mention we're staying in Izegem, known by one rider was born there, and he became a director. Infamous. Johan Brunel.
Oh, and I forgot to print out the news story about him. I did print out the news story, but I haven't read it because I ran out of time.
Segue.
Do you hear how upset he is?
Yeah, he had a dark spot.
He was traumatized. He
sunk to a new low.
Fuck you.
And it's millions of dollars owed to the U.S. government. But
after his lifetime ban.
That's what caused it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, there's so many stories going on in the news. Anybody else on your thoughts about coronavirus and what it's going to do to the pro cycling season? And keep talking because I need to go get another beer from the fridge.
I mean, go for it.
For what it's worth, I've got a lot to say about this for professional reasons.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know if that matters.
Pregnant pause.
The bike industry is really getting fucked by this, and supply chain. Supply chain for making a bicycle is super long, and what's happening is
I step away and we're getting a professional opinion from Karsten, and I missed it.
Yep.
You're not. God damn it.
Is it because they're all?
I just imagine you on the toilet while you're saying this, but keep going.
Imagine this, and I don't care what brand of bicycle it is, but let's for fuck's sake, just take a full suspension mountain bike made by any American mountain bike brand. Specialized, Trek, Pivot, whatever. And they could have a production line in Taiwan. Doesn't matter. that bike won't go down the line if the bushings that it needs to make its suspension work are made in deepest, darkest China. And if those bushings aren't shipping because the workers can't go to work, then American bike dealers aren't going to get bikes. So the problem is the bike industry is getting impacted very heavily by this. Some companies are being very upfront about it. Some are scared of, scared of spooking the retailers. But the bottom line is this virus is, I don't care how warranted it is actually, because it's, in comparison to cancer, it's nothing. But it's freaking people out to the degree that supply chains are really messed up. And the problem is, even if it were eradicated tomorrow, the impact will be 4 or 5 months long. And that's why the stock market, and so we're talking about the bike industry.
Yeah.
Multiply this by all other industries that rely on China for supply chain dynamics. Now we're talking about why the stock market is plummeting. So the ramifications of what we're talking about aren't just about some people getting sick and dying, which is very sad, but this virus is an economic disaster, not a medical one.
I don't have anything to follow that, Jackson. Yeah, that's actually Carson. Damn, that was good. You were gonna.
He's don't really have anything else.
Shit.
Yeah. That's a part that nobody thinks about.
Yeah.
I mean, even like canceling a race. I mean, if they canceled like Strada Bianca, there's people who that money coming in for that race, the cities,
community.
Towns, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That people aren't going to get paid. So what do you do? Does the entry fee get put back to the teams? So where's your base? All these, it's stuff that we don't think about. It's a heavy hitter, unfortunately, and it's not right.
Okay, I know your opinion on it, Paul. You're still traveling. Fuck
No,
it.
yeah.
Bring it.
Yep.
How about the rest of the room? Would you still travel?
Yes.
CP? Yeah.
It's in the media as if it's the only deadly thing out there.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff out there all the time, every day.
I'm more afraid of MRSA or something like that, staph, than I am.
Yeah,
the coronavirus is like 2.5 times more deadly than the flu. Well, you and I aren't normally going to die from the flu. But, kids and elderly and people that can't get
high-risk
care.
COPD.
If you can't get care, you live in a rural area, or you live in, the middle of nowhere, China, you're going to, likely die.
And it's coming. I mean, they're starting to figure out that, Seattle, it's been floating around for 6 weeks without people realizing it. But it's still barely, if any, more deadly than the flu. Mm-hmm. But even that's less deadly than driving in your car.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to take it lightly. And everybody that's lost is, it's not a comfort to the people you're left behind if they lose a loved one, that it's not that deadly. But at the same time, it's not something that's going to wipe the population off the face of the earth. Most of us, if it comes, and I think when it comes, are going to get mild symptoms and move on.
Let me turn this back to bike racing, though. But what do you think? But this is,
and that's why it breathes so hard.
No, you gave me a perfect segue, because you watch these pros and they are susceptible as hell to viruses.
Yeah.
They get the smallest cold just like that. What if they're being exposed to this type of stuff? What is this going to do to riders? I mean, how do we not know that the top contenders of the tour are going to get just bitch slapped by this virus, and they're not going to be around, or they're going to be quarantined for a month?
Yeah.
So this is going to have a huge impact upon
that I think
bike
is
racing.
Actually, the biggest impact on the bike racing is if they get quarantined for a while, because these cyclists, they're susceptible to getting sick because they've stretched themselves to the absolute limit, and therefore their immunity is down for several hours, but they're also healthier than hell.
Yeah.
And so if they get things more than the rest of us, but they also recover way faster than the rest of us. Because if they go on rest, their bodies they're in a state of health where they can recover. I think what's really going to screw them over is like if they get quarantined and they have to sit in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, that will knock one of these top level. I mean, for me, it'd be a good recovery stretch from the one ride I did this month. but for them, it would knock them 6 weeks behind.
I think it is, like we were just saying, I think it is one of those things that's not as like deadly as I think the media is portraying it to be.
I hope so.
Yeah. But I also think it is something that does need to be taken fairly seriously. You know, it's here. It's and it's something that I think can't be ignored, and I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to this. Like, people are going to catch it. You're traveling, like, as an individual, like as a cyclist who is traveling around the world, going to each different country, you're bound to encounter something like that. And I think I'm going to sound informational, but taking the proper steps is like is what is the most important thing, I think, for these like we were just saying, very susceptible individuals. I think just washing your hands, doing all these things is like the most. Like it's like we think about it every day, but it's just like doing it is, I think,
I
the
would
biggest
truly
part.
want to know about the people who didn't wash their hands before this. Like, wait, what?
Schools are going to be a mess.
Yeah.
I think, because kids aren't, Yeah.
I think one really.
So I've got 2 kids in school.
I think
they're going to get it. I'm going to bring it here.
Yep.
You guys are all gonna
We're all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
sorry.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
No, you were
Carson.
fine, Carson. I teach in a school, so it's a petri
Pat's
dish.
bringing it. Yep.
Yeah. Carson, you were saying?
I think one important thing to consider here is how the world reacts to this kind of thing in the era of social media. And I don't know if this would have been as big a deal 20 years ago. It certainly would not have impacted the stock market like it is now.
Yeah.
And, it also shows, how weird the stock market is and how really underrected it is, and how much of an uncaged
emotional.
It really
it's kind of
is.
an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
It based on like something that's going on that really isn't affecting stocks. It is people get freaked out, and as soon as people start selling, it goes nuts.
I hate to do this, guys, but I hate to remind you guys that this is about a bike ride.
Podcast.
But we are talking
Pod
about
Save America. I came here
here, Pat.
Yeah, what's that?
We're trying to build the Packfiller brand,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, next thing you know,
why by putting people to
I'll
sleep?
be replacing Chris Matthews, right? Yeah, that's all I fucking need. Yeah,
Perfect.
See how I did that? That's called a callback joke.
Yep.
I do before we get to, and I've got some. I'm doing some mental shuffling of my agenda for the podcast tonight. But before I get to anything else, I want to say, fucking all right to the U.S. track team. Ashton Lambie with silver in the individual pursuit. Chloe Dygert with the gold and a new world record.
She got 2 golds.
Yeah, and she got it in the team pursuit too. Just absolutely crushing it. And that Denmark smashed the men's team pursuit world record. So freaking all right.
They smashed it. They didn't just barely beat it. They smashed it.
I just honestly wish track was more accessible to the regular Joe.
Funny you should say that. It's going to Eurosport, and GCN are now going to cover more track for next year.
Really?
And they're a separate kind of like program they're trying to create for
I wish there were more
track.
velodromes accessible to people.
Once that happens, I think you might see a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think it's a good intro to cycling. I think look at GB Cycling. They've done an unbelievable job of getting people started. Most of them, these guys you look at, Wiggins was track.
Yeah.
Luke Rowe, track.
Yeah.
Garrett Thomas, track. And your buddy Cavendish was started off in
Love
the track.
the guy.
Your best friend.
Just gave a fist bump. I was trying to get him on the show, but then I realized I fucking burned that bridge. I really burned that bridge. And Ashton Lambie, who I think, it's a great freaking guy. So I did want to mention that. I wanted to talk about this big fear. And Karsten and I had a huge opening trivia. I'm going to still do trivia, but we're at over an hour into the show already. And I was going to do a whole thing about, and I would have loved to have heard your opinion on direct-to-consumer bike sales. Because... What?
Grinding my teeth right now.
Because it was all about, how these companies are doing this and what we think bikes cost, what they, and what people are trying to do and think this is some sort of a incredible deal, but the things that are also being lost in direct to consumer bike sales. So, but I'll save that for another show. You cool with that?
That could be a whole show, dude.
Yeah, it could. You know what? And actually, I think that should be a whole show instead of just a simple trivia topic. So before we get to the trivia, I do need to say that Packfiller Trivia, I'm remembering a sponsor mention, is sponsored by Gooder and Scratch Labs. Gooder is now offering, by the way, this object is the biggest object of desire in this studio. Gooder is now offering the Gooder Lunchbox.
Really, they have it now.
Which is sitting over there in the corner, but I only have one camera working. Is sitting over there. The Gooder Lunchbox is available if you buy 2 pair. You don't have to get it. 2 pair of glasses. So if you go to Gooder.com, you can purchase. You buy 2 pair of $24 glasses, and you get the lunchbox that honestly, for me, is the best thing to happen since Steve Austin had the $6 million.
Total?
No, if you buy 2 pair of Jack's back from taking a pee.
And your wife, your mom's totally on board with a urinal down here. So
now she is.
Yeah.
Now she is.
Yep.
No, she's not.
No, she had to clean up after he just peed.
Yeah, I
Just
told her
splattered all over the place.
a bucket or going
Toilet
upstairs.
paper's got water spots.
fire hose. What the hell's wrong with you, man?
I am 50.
That's a manly dribbles. That's a manly
anyway.
stream you got there.
Yeah, this
Jack.
is this during a sponsor mention.
Yep. They
Hi,
love
Doug.
it. They love it.
Yeah, and I'd also want to mention Scratch Labs. Scratch Labs is almost out of the spiced apple cider. If you get it while it's hot, get it, because if you haven't had it, I've made Jackson a cup of it the other day, and you thought,
I thought it was great.
yeah, it's great shit. It is really good shit. So there we go. So I'm gonna skip the whole thing on direct to consumer bikes, Karsten. And it's going to be a speed round of Packfiller trivia tonight. All right. So we are going to start. Where is it? That's the key.
Is it?
And the volume's all the way down. God damn it! I'm a professional broadcaster.
You keep saying that.
Yeah, who told you that?
Keep telling yourself.
Nothing works. I'm just gonna. Okay. I'm gonna play Every Day I Write the Book. Every day. Every day. Every day I write the book. I'm giving you a loving look. We're gonna play
Costello, man.
Elvis Costello.
Is there more beer?
We are going to play I Write the Book, okay? And we're going to play I Write the Book, and then we're going to play the 13, okay? I bet I muted it over here. That's probably the problem.
I gotta go.
Why?
Just kidding.
No. Okay, so I'm going to name you to start. Jackson, you're probably screwed on this, but you might be okay. You might be okay. It's a little outdated, this topic is. But I'm going to give you guys the titles of books. The first ones are going to be written by the person I want you to identify. So if I were to say, for example, what's Sagan's book?
I know what you're talking about.
Sagan.
My World.
My World. And you were
Paul,
to say
My World.
Paul, you were to say Peter Sagan.
Peter Sagan. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to give you the title of the book.
No cheating.
You have to chime in with your name.
Hey,
Jack's on his phone already.
Yeah.
So I have those, and then the second half is going to be, who is the book about? So if I give you the title of a book, you have to give me who the subject of the book is. So it could be written by somebody other than the actual cyclist. All right? So you guys are going to suck
I
at
don't
this.
read
It's going to
Aren't they all about Lance?
Who
fucking
reads
lead.
Do you have a cricket
balloon.
like
Yeah.
button on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp.
I don't, but
Kafka.
I will. Kafka.
That wins.
Okay, you guys ready?
Salman Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie, but that's okay.
Close.
Sal Bass. I keep
Sal
thinking
Bass.
of that from the Seinfeld. Okay, we ready? The first title is The Climb, the autobiography. The Climb. I know that's so fucking vague. You could just guess and probably get
Jackson. Phil Gaiman.
No.
That's what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
Phil
So
Gaiman
thanks
has
for doing that.
Phil Gaiman has far wittier titles.
Yeah, but he's a Strava.
Jack
J-O-M.
Klein.
That's
Jack.
true. Jack.
Richard Rank.
That's a great guess. It's wrong, but it's a great guess.
Trying.
I'm going to say you said that because it's French.
You're gonna say what?
The guy's French. The Climb.
So what's the author?
I'll throw it in. I'll throw it in.
You didn't
Lauren
say
Fignon. Paul.
Lauren Fignon. Paul. No. Karsten and Chris are getting all the time in the world.
An imp.
Climbing, I have no idea.
Gravity.
The opposite of climb.
I know that one.
I can picture him as an old man. He was the angel of the mountains. I'm blanking on his name.
Herrera.
No,
Lucian Van Impe.
Yeah, Van Impe.
I said that.
no, that's not the one I'm thinking of.
Well,
Sorry.
you're all
No.
wrong.
Yeah.
Carson lets you have a guess.
No,
It's believe it or not, it's Chris Froome.
He was Carson.
Chris
like,
the climb.
Okay,
Wow.
I'm going vague on you here now. Don't think specifically cycling on some of these.
All right.
Bicycle Diaries is the title of the book by the man who was most recently on Saturday Night Live.
Jackson.
Yes.
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney was the host.
I know who this is.
John
I know the
Mulaney was
answer.
the host, but
I don't know who it
Chris.
is.
Chris?
Adam Sandberg.
No.
No.
Fuck that
Oh,
guy.
God damn it.
Karsten?
David fucking Byrne. Are you kidding me?
Karsten got the
Oh,
first
did you say
point.
musical?
David
Yes.
Byrne.
Oh, I forgot
Really?
about.
That was
Yeah.
the
Talking
best
Heads.
SNL I've
Yeah.
seen in like 10 years.
I haven't seen it, so don't spoil it.
Okay.
Oh
Next
my-
title.
I'm not going to spoil it, but God,
But-
that was.
Did you play any music?
He's the musical guest.
No.
That's
Next
fine.
one. Okay, we were young and carefree, and this person was already mentioned in one of your guesses. I'm giving hints.
Oh, it's Gaiman. Jack.
Jack says Phil Gaiman.
Yeah.
Jack is incorrect.
Jackson.
Jackson.
Fignon.
Laura Fignon. Jackson
Oh,
comes through with the
Jesus.
Laura Fignon.
That was mine. That was mine.
Yep.
That was
How
mine.
can-
You get a half a point.
What a weird title
I know.
for Laura Fignon.
I know.
We were young and
That's
carefree.
You would think
Well,
the
he had
curveball.
long hair and
Yeah.
kinda,
Yeah.
The
wore the
professor.
headband.
Yeah, Laura Fignon didn't have long hair.
He
Yeah, he
had
did,
some
yeah,
long
yeah.
hair
Oh,
and
the
a
ponytail.
ponytail. Yeah.
He had a skullet
He was
with
like
a ponytail.
the craziest.
Skull.
Okay, this one's going to go fast, so everybody listen in. The title of the book. I feel like the password guy. The title of the book is Shut Up Legs.
Jackson.
Share.
Ken's Voight.
Jackson gets wins with Share.
I know, that was
Good
that
one,
was an
Carson.
easy one. If
Half
we,
a
our
point for
minds
humor
were
on that
completely-
one.
No, Shares is Shut Up Brain.
Yeah.
That we should get an extra 3 seconds because Jackson's
Yeah,
not drinking.
his brain is fresh.
Yeah. We're like,
That's a personal choice.
Yeah.
The delay.
Yeah,
Jackson has to go 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
and don't count because it'll throw me off. I'm like, pressure.
I'll count in like different languages.
No, just do it on your phone. Do it. Set a timer.
Okay, we're running so long. Okay, the book is that now we're at the titles. Okay, the title. I mean, the titles are related to the subject
person.
of the book.
Okay.
It's not the author. Okay, The Comeback.
Lance. Oh,
Say your name first.
Jack.
Chris,
Yeah.
cycling.
Yeah. No. Chris always got with one. The Comeback is a book about whom? 3.
Paul.
Paul.
Lamond.
Paul comes through
Nice.
with Greg LeMond. Carson, you on mute over there? You
Apparently
must be.
so. Yeah.
The next
dropped it.
title: Half Man, Half Bike. I
is that?
swear to God, these are available on Amazon.
Half man, half bike.
Jeff
It's
Goldblum.
that
in The
gasoline
Fly.
commercial.
Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. Fuck you guys. I'm giving Chris a point for that one.
Yeah. Who was it?
That was Eddie Merckx.
Oh.
Half man, half bike.
Yes, this one's going to go fast. I think it will for those of you purists. The book is titled "Put Me Back on My Bike."
Paul.
Yes,
Tommy Simpson.
Tommy Simpson. Carson, seriously, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
All
just
right.
making sure you're there.
I'm just not gonna say shit.
Three more titles. Wheelman. Wheelmen. Wheelman. Someday I hope to be a wheel boy. You'll get it when I tell you the
Pinocchio?
person it's about. I'm not a powder. I'm a wheelman.
Pee Wee Herman.
Close. Books about Lance Armstrong.
Never heard of that.
Next
Feel
one.
proud.
The world's fastest man. Jackson's just like, shit.
Jackson.
Jackson?
Mark Cavendish.
No.
Jack.
Chris
Boardman.
No.
I almost said that one.
Chris Bradley
did?
Wiggins.
No.
Paul. Like an hour record.
3,
Freddie Merton.
7, 15.
Jesus, if you're
Oldest
still
Rit-
on
oh,
YouTube.
oh,
If
oh,
you're still
Ol
on
Ritter.
YouTube,
You can't name
congratulations. Now
yourself.
we're dark.
Ol Ritter.
Ol Ritter?
Ol
Ritter.
Ritter. He chased the 1 hour. The impossible hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karsten?
Bianchi.
I have no idea. Oh no, God, I do. It's that dude, that '70s
Oh, that
American
dude.
pro who did the speed record on the Bonneville Salt Flats. What's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name.
I don't
If
think
that's not
it.
right, just put him out of his pain.
It's John Howard, and he's been on the Packfiller
John
podcast,
Howard,
by the way.
yeah.
No, that's not the book. Your Karsten's guessing John Howard, and it's not about John Howard.
That's what I thought.
It's about Major Taylor.
Oh,
Yeah.
now that's a book worth reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hats off.
Last one
Not
before we get
Wheelman.
before,
That one
not
reads
Wheelman.
You're gonna secretly read Wheelman.
No,
Wheel boy.
He's gonna.
Last book, Cycle of Lies.
Hang on.
Chris Tyler Hamilton.
No.
No.
Jack.
Jack.
Floyd Landis. We're just gonna get through the
Yeah.
whole team.
Incorrect.
Don't
3 remain. There are no punishments for
Frankie
getting
Andrea.
it wrong.
Is it
Thank you for sticking onto YouTube because you're looking at a black screen right now, but you're
People
just
are on
listening
there?
to us.
Yeah.
There are quite a few people.
Thank
on
you,
YouTube
people.
Still sticking with us. And all my cameras have died.
I finally look good.
Fuck yeah.
You should try your 360 here and then
I
selfie
will.
cameras.
Yeah, that will.
Yeah.
I've got one.
I do
I've
as
got
well.
one. I'm sorry,
Okay.
and this is probably the best book ever written about bike racing. Period. And it wasn't on this this game, but Dog in a Hat.
I know that.
Why are you fucking
I've read that
talking
one.
about something that has nothing to do with the contest? Jackson, you had an idea?
Alberto Contador.
Oh. Actually, that's another book about Lance Armstrong.
Really?
Yep.
Don't throw this out because I just
What was the
ignored
title?
that.
Yeah. Cycle of Lies.
Cycle of Lies. Somebody else.
You
wrote
guys
it.
were.
We were
who's the
all
author?
over it. We
Who's
were
the
all
author?
over it.
Why don't you just say Tour de
I don't know who the
Pharma?
other is.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that movie.
Pat,
movie
Pat
was
gets
just
angry and
That
he
movie makes
throws
me
the
so
brick.
mad.
He
That
throws
movie
the brick
makes
at
me
the
so
TV.
mad. I would throw a bike at that movie.
That was the equivalent of screw you.
I'd go
He's
all,
gonna pull a Moscone.
I'd go all Moscone on that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for the 13? And I don't know. Yeah, I think everything's coming apart. Yeah, my sound effects aren't even fucking working anymore.
See what happens when
Wheels
you
are
do
falling off.
There we go.
There we go.
Are you guys ready?
I wonder if my wife is listening.
Hi, honey. All right. In the 13, it was what would you do, in case you might forget. What would you do in this situation? So, gentlemen, for 5 points. By the way, Jackson and Paul are currently in a tie with 2 points. Chris and Karsten with 1 point. Jack is with a big old donut hole.
Yeah, goose egg,
Goose egg. Asshole.
asshole,
Yeah.
puckering,
Askren?
No,
aspirin.
no,
That's great.
no. He's a mascon.
Yeah.
Mascone.
All right.
Puckering mascone.
So I'm going to put you
That's
guys into. I'm
redundant.
going to put you guys into a situation here. Okay, and everybody in this. Yeah.
Is there a safe word involved?
No.
Oh my God.
Smorgasbord. Smorgasbord. No. Shoelace. So, you guys ready? I still love the fact that people are on YouTube right now and it's a black screen. Thanks, you guys. So here it is, the situation. You've been planning a dream vacation / training camp for over a year. Hell, let's just say it. You're going to Mallorca or however you pronounce it.
I don't have 30 grand.
No, this isn't. No, okay.
Right.
Great hotels, great food, great friends. You've paid for everything up front. You have prepared for this trip as if you were a monk. All is good to go until 1 week prior to the trip, your significant other mentions a birthday party for her grandmother that happens to take place on one of the days of your trip. She mentions, Grandma might not be around for another birthday, and it would really be great if you could make it, all while laying on the guilt pretty heavily. What would you do? Now, gentlemen, before you speak, I am looking for a humorous response because I am going to give you 5 points based on which response honestly makes me giggle like a little schoolgirl. Okay? So, I will give you
a girlfriend or a wife?
Significant other.
There's a difference.
Do you have both right now?
Who said that? No. My wife, Bert.
No, she might be listening.
Yeah.
You're in so much trouble.
Which
I know.
one?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing the beer, though, dude.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
We won't see him next week.
I can testify under oath that Jack Broadhead is a definitely one-woman man.
Yeah.
You're a good man.
Per day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Fuck you, Karsten. My joke to my wife was like, if I bring this beer, it won't say on my phone Jack equals poop.
Your wife says that?
No, you got
Oh, I say that.
When I missed the podcast, Jack equals poop. I said to my wife, I equal poop because I can't make the podcast.
So you made
honey,
by bringing good beer.
Yeah.
But honey, I equal poop.
I equal poop.
All right,
Wait,
so
where are we going with this?
how are we going to react to the fact that you have a dream trip taken care of while your significant other, Jackson, you could probably imagine your significant other maybe saying something like this, that grandma's only got so many years left in her, and it would really be a shame if you were to miss her birthday. Anybody want to go first? Oh, Jackson was about to comment.
Is she really even going to remember that it's her birthday? Just go anyways.
That is the proper first question.
That'll go over like a lead balloon, by the way.
So that's a guy who's dating.
Yeah, that's right. But it was a good answer. Very good answer.
Very good answer.
Yeah.
You'll be moving on.
That is leading the charge, obviously, right now. Does anybody else have something that could potentially top it for 5 points?
I can't follow that. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Let's go visit her now in case she doesn't make her birthday.
Oh, CP's got a good one up there.
Yeah.
The preemptive strike.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't work. She'd be like, no, fuck you. You got to go. It's a birthday.
It has
Use the
worked.
J. Love you. Yeah.
I've got things rolling through my head now.
Oh, wow.
You got even better now?
That's because he hasn't been beaten down.
Yeah.
We're married men.
As soon
It's
as
like,
you get married, you're
I'm
like,
gonna try
this
this.
is
I'm
all
gonna
like
try that.
taboo shit here.
We
like,
cringe when you say they're laughing, but we're like, oh
Yeah.
God, don't do it.
yeah. Enjoy your youth, man.
You only get one answer per scar.
Yeah.
You're right, honey. I won't go.
Yeah, I'm stupid. I should have never. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh my
You're
God.
right. I can't even pronounce the destination. I shouldn't go.
Yeah.
I should have bought the trip insurance.
Good idea.
When you're married, you have to. Because that shit happens.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say, it's really hard for me to put.
Did I hear Karsten laughing in the background?
I've been laughing the whole time.
This is coming from a divorced man. He knows.
Yeah.
He's right back to Jackson's level.
Yeah, that's right. You could have started all over. That's pretty nice.
Fuck it. She won't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does she even know my name?
Yeah. See? Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah.
No.
I'll stay if she can say my whole name and my birthday.
Yeah.
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 It's
That's
there.
dating.
Yeah.
Are you
Right.
sure that's her birthday?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any?
I don't. The only
think we
thing
all
is so
threw out a lot.
unrealistic for me because
I got one.
Oh,
go ahead.
If she dies tonight, would the funeral be after I get back?
We obviously don't like Grandma as much as a bike race. Or a,
Good one,
I
Carson.
just paid
I like that.
$30,000 to go to Mallorca, man.
yeah. I'm going on the Lance trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-refundable.
You're right,
Yeah.
honey. I'm going to the funeral.
But honey,
I mean, birthday.
they got Pinarellos. Am I making a judgment call here?
Yeah, I just can't. I can't play up to that because
Yeah.
first of all, my wife is German, so everything's planned at least 10 years in advance. So I would have been blocked going on this trip before I was even be able to go on that trip because
Paul's
she's already
sweating
got down.
just thinking about the possibility
never-
of having to answer.
It's never gonna happen.
Main must have the party.
Must have it now.
I think my
You
answer was
Hutschkopf!
German, actually.
What spinnst du?
What, Karsten?
I think my answer was very German, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna nepotism is
Yeah, I
not
know.
a bad thing.
Who can argue?
I'm gonna throw the points
That's
at
a close
Jackson
second.
simply because Jackson threw it out of the gate right out of the gate.
yeah.
I mean that was the quickest. So with just letting it happen here, Jackson is the official winner of this night's Packfiller trivia. Karsten, you were good. I promise you were good.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
It's just that you don't live here. So that being our 1 hour and 27-minute podcast, which are usually only supposed to be an hour, but they never are.
Never.
This is a double podcast week. I do want to mention that before I sign off and say, first of all, subscribe to the podcast, rate us on things, follow us on Mixler, send us any kind of, I'm fragile, but, be gentle.
Criticism.
Yeah, and things like that. And let us know what you think of everything and how it's working. We are still planning that European trip. We're going to be at Paris-Roubaix and I almost said Flesh Malone. Then I said Flanders, and then I said Flesh Malone. But we are going to be at those races. Come find us, have a beer with us, or at least look for the flag that's going to be jumping up and down.
Sector
Arrive
13.
flag?
Sector
Arrive flag?
13. No, Packfiller flag.
Oh, well, that's even better.
Yeah.
We'll be in Sector 13 if you're watching on TV. That's Orshi. And we'll be on the Kapelmuir,
Nice.
which is about 100 kilometers to go in the race.
Yeah, we will be at those places. We will be drinking beer. We will very likely going to check in with my friend John
Paul
Galloway
can't
over
drink beer.
with
That would be
Velocast, and that should be a fun time to do. But when I say this is a double up week, I had a wonderful opportunity to talk to the one and only Ted King, talking about his career and how he found gravel before it was cool. That podcast will be releasing pretty much the same time this very one does, so you're welcome for the double-decker sandwich this week. And other than that, Karsten in Bend, Oregon. First of all, man, thanks for being on another show.
Thanks for having me.
Clash of sarcasm.
Wink,
Wink, wink. I just keep waiting for the sound of the grunt and
the toilet to flush.
The toilet hitting the water. For all of our friends here in the studio, you guys, thanks for being here. Jack, thanks for bringing the beer. You're not poop.
I'm non-poop.
Jack is not poop this
not
week,
poop.
and you're a very loyal husband.
Thank you. My wife plans my life.
Thanks
on
to
an
all of our listeners,
Excel spreadsheet.
especially. Oh my God, the actual people went up on YouTube that are just staring at a blank screen and listening to us.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, there's a blank screen."
Yeah,
Let's
I
go
promise
for it.
I'll figure that shit out.
Oh, thank God we don't have to look at them anymore.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably it.
Yeah,
We're such ugly mugs.
More successful.
I think Mixler is the key, folks. I'm gonna, stay with Mixler.
It's like
We'll-
having the lights off.
yeah,
Yeah.
CP with the word out. All right, I'm clear.
Thank you.
Karsten, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey.
I thought you were
That
going
one
to
was
come
fun.
here this weekend, you motherfucker.
I got to be in Colorado tomorrow morning at noon.
All right.
That's not morning.
Oh, I got to get up.
That's to your morning.
I got to wake up super early in the morning. So
So next time I drive
Taking a
through